Well, I mean, I guess it all started from Alejandro's mind, that he wanted something that was a little different for his soundtrack for for Birdman, and he's always talked about the rhythm in film. That a film with no rhythm obviously is not as effective. So I think he took it to the extreme when he wanted to literally have the whole film with rhythm from a drum set. And he called me in 2013 and he asked me if I would be into doing the music for his new film, which was a dark comedy, and he thought it would be great if the whole original score was pretty much drums, and I was like, wow, I would be honored, but I didn't know if it was gonna work or not. But of course, I trust his instincts as a director and as a genius that he is, and little by little we started figuring out how to do it, and I think it worked pretty well. Yeah, I mean, he saw me playing the first time in 2005, and in Los Angeles, and I remember I did this really long, wild, open drum solo, and I think from there his wheels started turning, and when the time came to try to figure out what to do with Birdman, he has mentioned that he thought of that drum solo, and that he would like to hear some of that. We started doing demos based on the script. Just him and me got together in the studio, and he would explain the scenes to me in great detail. He would tell me, okay, in this scene, the main character, Regan Thompson, is in his dressing room, and he gets up, and then he has a gun, and then he opens the door with his special powers that he thinks he has, and then his mind is going crazy. He's thinking of maybe killing himself, and then he goes into this long hallway, and then he turns the corner, and then this really long scenes. As you know, Birdman is almost a continuous scene. So he would explain that to me, and then he would just have me improvise based on that. And I would tell him, okay, why don't you sit in front of me, and then you imagine the scene, I imagine it with you, and then when you see the next part of the film, of the scene happening, then raise your hand so that I know that he opened the door, or that I know that he turned the corner or something. So he would give me those visual cues, and whenever he did that, I was like, okay, so he opened the door, let me play something that accentuates the action. So that was in the beginning, and then at the end, well, actually they grabbed those demos and then they rehearsed with them so that the actors would get an idea of what the music was going to be like and get used to that rhythm, So like, for example, if somebody's walking, through a hallway and you hear the beat of the drums, then you're going to walk, in a different pace than if you wasn't hearing anything. That helped the actors, and then of course, once the movie was finished, I redid everything looking at the film and having very specific things in mind, like dialogue and movement. But I was mainly improvising and using the same instincts as when I improvised with a band. So I was reacting the same way, but this time around I was reacting to a plot and to actors and to a storyline. So I didn't think it was that different for me. Improvisation is composition. It's just composition in real time, on the spot. So if I would have taken, 5 months to compose the drum parts, I would probably have ended up being the same, or probably not as good, because I feel like sometimes your first reaction is the right one. I like it when my music is cinematic in the sense that it's visual. It can inspire something visual in the audience. I know there's only gonna be one Birdman, unless there's Birdman 2, but I don't think there's gonna be Birdman 2. And what I liked about Birdman is that I was able to do what I do. It's not like I had to do something completely different than my comfort zone. And to be honest, a lot of times I've heard from other film composers that it can be very difficult to work with some directors. They have to rewrite music a lot, and they have to write music for a specific thing. You know, I love writing music for my own projects, and if I'm gonna spend 3 months writing every day, maybe I prefer that it will be for my own project so that I can go all over the world and tour and have music listened to it. Because that's the main focus of my music. The main focus of film music is not the music itself, is to serve the film, you know, to make it do what the director wants it to do and to have the dramatic effects that it needs to have. Writing music for orchestra and stuff like that, you know, I'm not that interested in that, to be honest. And if I want to write music for orchestra, I rather write music for orchestra for my own project, you know, instead of ended up being kind of background music in some film.
The drums is not an usually instrument for movies, I think.
I think that was one of the problems with the Oscars and why the score got disqualified. Because I think a lot of people that are in the academy that see that and hear that music, they're like, you know, that's not real film music, you know. But I mean, to me, an effective film score is something that stands out, that helps the film, and that is original. I did it all by myself. I did not use a huge orchestra. I did not use any kind of electronics. So, you know, it was a one-man show. Maybe some people didn't like that. Maybe some people liked it.